All right, we're going to try this. Chapter 22. I apologize for the sniffles. It's allergy season, and so I'm going to do the best I can. All right, this is Chapter 22, Cities and Sustainability. The core case study of this chapter focuses on Curitiba, Brazil. It's a city that was designed with, green engineering and sustainable design built into it. And it's held up often as an example of such a place as you can design a green city, a sustainable city, um, period. This is the best example, one of the best examples we have of such a city. It's in Brazil. It's got several different components of it that work together to make it sustainable. One thing that is a real highlight of it is its use of transportation. So in Curitiba, you have this system of transportation that is organized like a wheel with 5 spokes. So you have this rapid transit that's it's a bus rapid transit that goes like the spokes of a wheel. You see it going out from the center. And then you have connections between the spokes, like in rings. And so what this means is that you can get from any point A to point B in the city really rapidly with this system. So like if you want to go from, right here to over here, you get on one of the lines that will take you in a little bit, you go over, and then you go up. And so all of these connect rather well, rather rapidly, and there's not a lot of wasted time or meandering in between those points. And if you need to go in somewhere like over here, well, you get close to it and then you walk there. So it's very efficient. This is not unlike the designs of like the Moscow Metro, if you look that up. And if you look at subway systems in some European cities as well. And there you can see a better picture of that. Now each of these points out here, these circles on the outsides, they go to outlying areas, and these serve as hubs for the outlying areas. All right, the first one here is about trends in urbanization, and so that we don't miss it here. Urbanization is steadily increasing, and it has been for quite some time. These urban areas are growing rapidly, and especially in less developed countries, and we're going to look at a couple factors of why that is. First off, urbanization is the growth of these areas. So the urban and suburban areas in a city, around a city, what we see is that the percentage of people that live in these areas, like worldwide, is increasing steadily over the past several decades. Urban growth is the rate of the increase of urban populations. And so urbanization is these urban and suburban areas, whereas urban growth refers to the population change. There are a variety of push and pull factors that bring people in from rural areas into the urban areas. Some of the things pushing them out of the rural areas into the urban areas are, they're looking for opportunity. Generally, it's pretty poor, not very well off in a lot of the rural areas. There are farms, that are being aggregated, so you'll have a farm buying out a whole bunch of other farms, and or buying the land, and people are forced out that way. Never mind some of the other stuff like conflict. Pull factors, things bringing them to the urban area, would include, opportunity. Also the possibility of housing and food and all that. Education is there. There's healthcare. There are a lot of services available in areas where there are more people. So that's a pull to the urban areas. The major trends are outlined here. So we've already mentioned number one, the frequency of things like megacities is increasing. So megacities, I believe it's 20 million or more. So you go back 50 years, there really weren't mega cities around, but now we have mega cities like Tokyo, Mexico City, just to name a couple. The urban growth is slower in developed countries, though. So a lot of this urbanization that we're seeing and this urban growth is in less developed countries. And, poverty is also becoming increasingly urbanized and often in less developed countries. So we have here just a few examples of different places that people live. We have a densely urban area in Shanghai. We have the buildings are very, very close together, high density population. Over here we have a picture of Southern California, very suburban. The homes are spread out. They're single family residences mostly. And then you have an example in Malawi in Africa of rural housing. So here we can look at urban population growth, and we see how the urban population growth in less developed countries, falls in line with the world trend, whereas in more developed countries, it's really kind of tailed off in the last several decades. This is just a different view of that. So looking at these major urban areas around the world, and this is a little dated. This is about 10 years ago, but you can see that we have some really large cities out here. Tokyo, over 32 million, and that we have a lot of cities that are over this 10 million mark. So just a reflection of the urban growth that we're seeing. This is a view of Delhi, India. So a lot of people in that area. In the US, we saw 4 phases of urbanization between the 1800s and then when this textbook was published around 2008. So we saw, first off, a migration from rural areas to large central cities, and then from large central cities to the suburbs and smaller cities. So you have people moving from the cities out. Then there's been a migration from north and east to south and west, so moving to the American Southwest from the northeast. And then a migration from cities and suburbs to developed areas outside the suburbs. Those would be the exurbs. And urbanization over this, little over 200-year period went from 5% to 79%. So initially, by far, most people did not live in urban areas. But by the end of it, close to almost 80%, so 4/5 live in urban areas. With this, we see environmental problems decreasing. So we have better working and housing. With these shifts in population, better water and sanitation as you're able to centralize it. And also better healthcare. You have more people, you can provide better services where the people are. In older cities, we do see deteriorating services. In the US, many cities have had a hard time keeping up with infrastructure, and things are, they continue to get worse. Flint, Michigan is an example, but there are several other examples of like bridges that need to be fixed. Problems with water supplies, sanitation, waste disposal is a real issue too. Landfills filling up, and where do we put the garbage? So there are other problems with urbanization, urban growth as well. So this is a satellite image of the U.S. at night, and you can see where, which parts of the country are most densely populated. So this urban growth over here in the north and the east has slowly over several decades spread to the south and west, although the Pacific Northwest has had its share as well. Okay, around a city or a town is urban sprawl. This is that low density development around city centers, and that's called urban sprawl. So some of the reasons why this has happened in the US is because there's been lots of land available, gasoline powered vehicles, and a relatively low cost of gasoline, and the availability of highways have made this easy and convenient. Tax laws favor home ownership, and we have zoning laws that favor these single-family homes excuse me, as well. And there's been a lot of just poor urban planning here. So you have this kind of growth outside the city, and a lot of it has to do with the poor urban planning that went with it. So other part of that could be that maybe the urban area, like in the city proper, didn't plan for the growth, and so there just aren't the homes available. It's another possibility, and so it's pushed people out. Let's see. Not sure I'm going to talk about this one too much here, though. We can look at the sprawl in Las Vegas, in and around Las Vegas. So over a period of less than 30 years, you can see how what was smaller, more centrally located now is spread out quite a bit. So that's representative of that sprawl around Las Vegas. And that in a place where there's just not a lot of water available. Go figure. So urban sprawl leads to natural capital degradation. As they spread out, there's a loss of cropland, loss of forests, loss of other ecosystems and natural areas. In terms of water, you increase the water use, you increase pollution. So there's less water. Water there is often more polluted. You have more runoff and flooding as the surfaces are often paved. There's less permeability to the soil. You can cause flooding too. Increase energy use and waste as people are commuting back and forth and emitting more pollutants into the air. And the downtown areas often will see a decrease in business as the population sprawls outward as well, because people are no longer close to those central areas, and you often have more unemployment in central cities that are surrounded by sprawl. All right, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to pick up this next section in the next video.